Welcome, everybody, to the CarolinaCast podcast. I'm joined here with Sam Durham and our new special guest. We have Blande from Twitter. Thank you for joining us, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I need to start out by saying you guys are inspirational. That was awesome. I've never seen that intro. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, mate. It's a little outdated. I think you saw, if you follow basketball, Rozier's not on the Hornets anymore. I know Burns isn't wearing 53, but
and
we're gonna get edited up soon.
We don't really win games 30-23, but
yeah.
Yeah, keep it like that.
Yeah, keep it in the win column for now, I guess. But once again, thank you all for joining us. If you want to go ahead, follow the CarolinaCast, you can at CarolinaCast Sports. If you want to check out Blande, he's on Twitter at @JustBlande. You can check out his YouTube channel as well. We will have that up as well. So anything else that we need to go through for, you guys can check it up in our bio and check out Blande's bio as well. Let's go ahead and get straight into this one. So we're gonna look at kind of opinion-based questions here. So Blande, I kind of just got onto Twitter a couple months ago. Sam and I have shared the account back and forth. I don't know I know a lot of people are pro Bryce Young. At least Panthers fans are pro Bryce Young. Going into the draft and now, have you been a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud type of guy?
This is a if you follow my account, you'll know that this is a Bryce Young stan account. Okay. Definitely. It's always been too.
Okay. All right. So I get it. Because I must say, I think his final year at Alabama, I think throughout that season, I've been pro Bryce Young. I kind of switched up a bit after the season. Just, when you see like the headlines of how like small quarterbacks don't work out in the NFL, this or that. I still think that either of these quarterbacks are going to probably help Carolina in the long term. I don't know if CJ Stroud would have immediate success, and we'll never know that. So I like the Bryce Young praise. I think Sam's kind of been torn with me too, kind of at the combine with all these guys. I was never big on Anthony Richardson, but Sam, if you want to give yours too.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, I'm just really more hoping that he pans out than comparing him to other guys, because I feel like that's really useless now that we're outside the draft process. I mean, I wasn't really pro trading up. I kind of wanted to tank this 2023 season and have the number 1 overall pick this year with this quarterback class. I thought it would have been good to maybe delay a year, but I understand the urgency to maybe get it in. At least now we've had him under our wing for a year, so it'll be easier going into the season with a rookie quarterback. And now we can focus on upgrading around him instead of just upgrading that position under center like a lot of these other teams are, like the Falcons especially. I'm not sure if Tampa's going to keep Baker or not, but looking at that, I mean, CJ Stroud, obviously, I mean, I think he's a very good quarterback for sure. I think that he has the opportunity to become an elite quarterback. I'm not sure if I would put him top 10 right now in the NFL. He's probably on the fringe of that area. He had a very promising playoff game, but overall, I think I'm just looking for Bryce to improve next season more than anything and focus on what he's really the best at. I feel like scrambling-wise, he could become a lot better, and just, I mean, I think that we need to design plays that are meant for him.
I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to kind of quote the old regimen, but I would just trust the process, man. I
agree.
I mean, it all comes down to Tepper anyway, so that's probably their ideas to trust the process. Just I would give this team time. Like they've got the cornerstones. It's right. In our defense, we're gonna have that Dan Morgan's kind of going back to the early days in the Panthers history, and you're gonna have this tenacious defense, and they're gonna keep us in every game.
And in that sense, I like Dan Morgan. Is like you bring in Dave Canales as head coach. He's more of an offensive-minded head coach. We knew that. We've seen his tenure in Seattle and Tampa Bay. I like Dan Morgan as a general manager, not only to help the offense, because I feel like Dave can also give some of his input of the guys he want. I think obviously there's rumors about Mike Evans. We'll get into that in just a moment. Some of the guys he had on Tampa Bay that he'd love to bring in. Which that would be nice, right? It would be. But at the same time, do you want to get another aging receiver? I don't know that. Obviously, he's better than Adam Thielen, but once again, we'll get to that in just a moment. But I like Dan Morgan, like you said, because he's going to look out for that defense. And since we know how much of a firepower and tough player he was for the Carolinas during his our early season as a franchise and his tenure as a playmaker, and he's all about the mentality of dogs. And if that's the mentality we want to bring back to the locker room, because this is it's been an interesting locker room, at least ever since Cam Newton in the Super Bowl era that we just had. It's been about mentality and dogs that Dan Morgan would like.
All right, so also for follow account, we have a special guest. I was going to guarantee there is going to be a special guest or three, so just
how you good?
These are my boys. They're my life. They're hilarious too, so very entertaining.
Yeah, very, very entertaining, I must say. That's awesome, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
But so going off of the bright young praise that we can give, and just Dan Morgan being that guy, I think we can move over to free agency. So I've listed down a bunch of free agents, and I know
Can we slow down real quick?
Yeah,
okay, so I apologize. I'm new to y'all's stream. I'm new to what you guys do. I want to hear about how long have you guys been doing this? How long have you been Panther fans? I'm very impressed. Like I said, very inspirational. So,
yeah, Sam, if you want to say how you became a Panthers fan and kind of the gist of this, if you want.
Well, so it probably started when I met Krish in the summer of 2020 at Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camp. Shout out to them. If you guys follow us on all platforms, you know that.
No way. That is so cool.
Periodically, but that's where I met Krish. And then that first 2020 season, I was more of just an NFL follower. That was really the first real season I got into the NFL. And then I'll probably say back half of that 2021 season when we were battling between Sam Darnold and Cam Newton, I would say that's probably when I started following the Panthers. And then the next season we started CarolinaCast 2022. I think we streamed pretty much every game on here in that 7-10 season. Very fun season to watch, though. And then, just kind of carried it into there. A lot of off-season stuff. Last off-season in preparation for this season didn't really live up to our expectations, obviously, but now we're kind of there again. So looking forward to it, and hopefully my best season as a Panthers fan yet. Pretty low bar to beat. But,
and I get you guys are already a Panthers account, but I want to hear about how did you guys get into broadcasting? You met at a camp. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, so 2020, obviously, COVID lockdown. So ironically, I don't think Sam knew what the camp was going into 2020. I think that's something you told me, right?
I would not have gone to the camp without COVID for sure.
Yeah, and I was already. Crazy. That was a funny thing. Like I was scheduled to go because I at the time my cousins now they live in Dallas now. They used to live near New York area, so that's where I was scheduled to go to this camp. And then all of a sudden they have to make it virtual, this and that. So I get put in with all these like hundreds of kids. I get put in there's like separate bunks for like age groups. And since like it's 10 to 18, I was 10 in 2020. So like I did it with Sam was in my bunk. A lot of the other people that are on the panel now, a lot of our close friends were in that same bunk. And we just created like a really close and amazing friendship and relationship with each other. I think Sam and I have gotten close like just like that. It was really surreal how fast everyone got to know each other just from talking online every day. And we finally got a couple years later, they opened it back up to in-person camp. We both got to meet at the Atlanta location, and we both went to Philadelphia last year and then Atlanta again. So it's just been surreal. We started, if I go back a little bit more from just the camps, CarolinaCast, I was going into 2022. That season that we had Baker Mayfield, this is only the second year of CarolinaCast, but going into it with like hey, I love the Panthers. I'm a passionate Panthers fan. I've been watching Panthers games since 2015, since I was 5 years old. I was born into the Panthers.
Oh, it's a good time to start.
I mean, my first game, it's very ironic. Week 1, Jaguars Panthers, the start of that 15-1 season. A little spoiled, you can say.
Jano's game. That's Josh Norman's big game.
Josh Norman's coming out game. It was incredible, man. And I still remember it to this day. I still remember the whole year and the Super Bowl and the conference championship. It was just an incredible year. And I mean, I've been a Panthers fan. I'm a diehard Panthers fan since. And I have the banner in the back that says "For Life."
Oh, I didn't see the name on the back. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, just everything around Carolina football I care about. So the fact that Sam and I kind of came together and were like, hey, why don't we show our love for the Panthers to the sports media and on the social. So we start off on YouTube. We slowly move over to like Instagram and TikTok and Twitter/X, and now all of a sudden we found ourselves where we are right now. We're very grateful for all the subscribers. We're very grateful for the love that we get, and we love communicating with other Panthers content creators. So we're very grateful to have you here. We're grateful to be in the Panthers community space on X and just be close with all you guys. It's crazy because everyone's there as a Panthers fan, but you get to know everyone a lot more as a person. So it's really surreal.
So are you guys based out of Charlotte, both of you? Did I miss that?
I'm in Charlotte.
In Charlotte?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Asheville, which is like 2 hours away from Charlotte.
Oh, I love Asheville.
We're pretty close, yeah. Asheville's beautiful.
Yeah, Chris lived in Virginia when I met him, but then moved to Charlotte, and so only really 2 hours apart from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's very cool about y'all's stream is that you're embracing. I guess you said like COVID kind of kicked you guys off. You're embracing the digital interviewing, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I feel like until we can kind of space out in a way, I mean, that's probably the next step, is to ever have an opportunity to do this in person with people, and obviously the production stuff. That's kind of our dream one day, if we can ever get there. And I feel like this is a great starting point just to kind of connect with the people around us online and with Panthers. And also we don't do just Panthers. That's the other thing. Obviously our channel is the CarolinaCast. We're going to root for the Panthers every single Sunday, but we also like to expand out. That's why we did the NFL playoffs, the NBA playoffs. We do some hockey, baseball. We try to do everything as well. But mostly, obviously, we talk about our podcast is all Carolina. We always wear Carolina blue, processed blue, but it's love for all the sports and the teams out there. Yeah,
I love it.
And that's really the bottom line here. So, so have you been a Panthers fan since day one too, kind of, or how's your journey?
It has been a journey, yes. Always been a Panthers fan, always.
Okay, got you.
And when I say always, so I grew up in a military family. We're out in Dallas right now, but lived in North Carolina, Virginia, New York, born in Utah. My dad's whole goal in life, I was telling you guys this earlier, was to move us out to Texas. He is a huge Cowboys fan. He's a Cowboys fan.
That makes sense.
And we have this competitive relationship, and we're living in North Carolina, and at the time, you turn on the TV. So let me back up a little. Every Sunday, I grew up Baptist, so every Sunday we'd go over to my grandparents' house. My grandpa would turn on the TV, and the first team that came on was the Redskins. So Panthers weren't even established at the time. The local team was the Redskins. Mm-hmm. So, and there's very tiny love for the Commanders, just because it was my grandpa's team. But he started putting on football every Sunday. We started watching, and then Panthers were established. So every Sunday he'd start putting on Panthers because they're the local team, and that's pretty much how it kicked off.
That's awesome, man. I think the cool thing about it, at least before we knew that Frank Reich wasn't going to be the guy, was, I don't know if this took you back way too much, but the fact that he was the quarterback in the first ever Panthers game, ended up throwing up the first ever touchdown in Panthers history, probably.
And I don't remember that at all, by the way.
Oh, really?
There's so much that I don't know.
There's too much. Yeah, I get you. I mean, I would love to be a part of those days. Obviously, I never got to be there for the 2003 Super Bowl. I never really got to watch Steve Smith like live. Really,
You're
I
getting the
mean,
chills.
highlights, but him, Musin Muhammad, Julius Peppers. I saw the end of Julius Peppers, but not really the beginning. A lot of those guys, just incredible players. Now even Dan Morgan, we get to learn about too. So it's really cool.
So I have a sleeper player that a couple, I guess, that nobody talks about. And I don't remember a lot of the players from when I was very young, because I don't remember a lot when you're young, you know. But the one name that I'll never forget is Tim Biakabatuka.
Oh,
You guys need to look into him. Just a stud running back, and he doesn't get talked about much, which is kind of crazy.
I think I've heard of him. I think I have. I mean, my Panthers knowledge is really gonna have to come in here. I think I've heard of him. I'm trying to remember his tenure because
It's such a name drop. Like, and I used to collect cards too. So,
Okay.
one thing I was gonna say is, when I see your memorabilia in the background, like my biggest regret is not holding on to the stuff that I had as a kid. Like, just over time, you just, I don't want to go into too much detail, but over time, you start losing items, and it's hard to think about all this memorabilia you had in the back in the days. And so one thing I can recommend is holding on to y'all stuff. I guess my dad's kind of a hoarder too, so it grows on you.
Yeah, I bet it does. I love holding on to my stuff. I hope I can hold on to some of it for long. I just got the I don't know if you can really see the brown football, but I just got that. That's a Super Bowl 58 football with all the other Super Bowls behind it. So it's pretty unique. And then the helmet is Julius Pepper's sign. My dad got it for his birthday a couple years ago. Lets me put it in the background. So it's
that black helmet is very sick that you have back there.
See, the cool thing about it is that helmet my dad got before the Panthers even released, like, hey, that's the helmet we're gonna wear like maybe once a year. So it was really cool that I got kind of in a way got a first glimpse of what that black helmet could look like. And I mean, funny enough, that's exactly what the helmet is. So
I need to, I guess, introduce myself too. I'm fairly new to Twitter, so I've been, I don't know if lurking's the right word, but I've been on since 2016, but I never really kept it serious. But what I've noticed recently is that the Panthers account or admin, they pay attention. They listen to the fans. And one thing that I think is coming is that black helmet that you have in the background. I feel like that's going to be our... I forget the word. That's going to be our official every week helmet.
Oh, really?
Hot take.
Is that really what it's coming down to? I mean, I don't complain over it. That's a pretty cool helmet. I'm trying to think. Would it look good with the white jerseys though? And some of the
I've been seeing a lot of people.
Everything. You know what's cool? I saw a silver or like a gray jersey. Oh my god! I don't know if you guys follow CA and Dre.
I don't know. We look too much like the Lions with those.
That's true.
Yeah, it does look like it, but yeah.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah. Sam, what are your thoughts on the potential black helmet move? I mean, I sincerely don't mind it.
I've been seeing a lot of white helmet actually. A lot of people wanting helmet. I feel like that would be pretty cool with the white jersey. So maybe you try to introduce to that. I mean, I think that it could be.
Well, what's going to happen is the black's going to be our primary. The silver is going to be our, I guess, retro that they can bring back anytime, for certain games. And then the white, that'd be cool, like a whiteout. That'd be awesome.
Kind of like what the Bengals have done recently. I feel like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
I mean, we got to represent all of the cat teams around the NFL well. So why not bring out our own like iced out uniform? I think that'd be kind of cool. If we could possibly. I mean, I'm kind of reflecting it off our banner right now. I look at Adam Thielen and J.C. Horn. There's a white. I mean, you can't really tell that much of a difference with the white helmet. It would probably look really nice, at least from what we have with the gray that we usually wear. So, if we can transition a little bit, it's kind of cool. See, that's the thing I love about Panthers Twitter and just Panthers media and all this other stuff. The people you get to meet is the Panthers may not be the coolest team to watch every Sunday, but if you're a fan and you're here for it and you stick it out with the people around you, I mean, you fall in love with the team fast. You fall in love with the fans, and they're
fans. Just talk about the fans for a little, because we have probably the best fans. And how Twitter is set up is like a bubble. I guess how everybody that I interact with on Twitter is Panther fans. Mm-hmm. And they are all hilarious. They bring new content. I don't know, very entertaining. And you're learning about them and you're growing with them. And yeah, I love our fans.
No, our fans, I won't say deserve better, because I think it is. There's 32 teams in the NFL, and there's 32 incredible teams in the NFL, including ours. And there's a lot of teams that are gonna be better than us. And we're not the biggest team yet. We don't have the biggest pieces yet. And I think it just takes one guy, really, in a sense, it takes one guy to come in and to change that. And I know ownership may not look the best right now, but what if there's something we don't know about? If there's something up Tepper's sleeve. Now, I'm not saying there is. I sincerely am not the biggest fan.
I wouldn't sleep on Tepper. Okay. He's taken a lot of heat.
Yes, definitely.
Taking a lot of heat. But that dude is smart. Like, he knows what he's doing, and
a billionaire for a reason.
Exactly. Like I've got a lot of respect for David Tepper, and I would say give him time. Like right now, people are giving him all kinds of crap, but I don't know. There's a lot of hope for me. So
I think the one thing about Tepper that and you know the weird thing about it is also like, why now? You know, like Tepper, just first of all, he's a brand new owner. Second of all, why are people coming after him now? I know you could say like, oh my goodness, he just bought the team, and like a year later you say sell the team. Why is it now? I know we went 2-15. We had to make game-winning field goals to win this year. But we were not supposed to be good, and I feel like it's, in a way, it sucks that we had to trade these picks and this and that. Maybe Tepper had a say in the quarterback, but at the same time, his job is to make money, and I think that's the other thing people don't look at is Tepper's job is to make money, and we're the ones that are going to keep yelling about it and talking about it, and like just. And then he's going to raise tickets, because what's the sad thing of the state of the Panthers right now is that the away teams are starting to fill our stadium, and Tepper's making money off of them. So no wonder he's raising the tickets. And
so
it's sad,
so it's not just. I like your point that, I mean, his goal is to make money, but what's going to make money? Winning. Like he knows that he needs a winning culture. I think he nailed it with this Dave Canales hire, and Dan Morgan, them having this continuity of working together. I mean, Dan said it that they've worked, I think, 7 years together, or they knew each other for the longest time, and they worked two doors down from each other. I mean, I said it last year that this team would surprise people, but we kind of lost our identity with when Steve Wilkes took over. That kind of ground and pound, tenacious defense. So I know Canales he's going to be, I think he's going to be introducing, it'll be more dynamic. I don't think it'd be like a ground and pound, because we don't have the players really for it right now. So we'll be fast on offense, I think, and then play just tenacious defense. I think clock management and stuff like that that's going to win us games.
Oh, yeah, I think for sure. And I think Canales, what he really brought with Tampa Bay and with Baker Mayfield, how he kind of resurrected his career was with like the play actions and getting the ball out fast. I think that's something that people didn't really look at from Canales. If I watch a lot of like NFL Network and this and that, and they show like these cool statistics. And something I learned about Dave Canales is like he's able to get the quarterback to throw the ball quickly. And with the Panthers offensive line, that's not the best. Not saying you can't improve the offensive line, but if Bryce Young, because I think that's something Bryce Young may have struggled with last season, is he did not have the offensive line that he had at Alabama. He did not have the time to kind of wait that extra second in the pocket to let a play develop or let the receiver get open. And I think what Canales' job is really going to be is, can he get Bryce Young to throw the ball faster and still be an accurate throw? And number two, how can the receivers create separation in time? I think that's going to be the Panthers' identity this season. And I think running the football will still be relevant. I mean, Chuba Hubbard showed us a lot of flashes last season. Miles Sanders' contract doesn't look the best, but if if he finds his identity again, sort of what he had with Philadelphia, he could still be solid for us in that running back room as well.
On our offensive line, you have to think about where we had success. And I'm not going to say that that Bozeman had the best year, but Taylor Moton was solid. Bozeman was there. Akey's got his work to do. But think about our guards. We had Austin Corbett injured. We had Brady Christensen injured. Those are vital points. And we're kind of just trying to find out that I guess that right formula, and I think when we get our guards, I guess, fixed or healthy again, think about our Texans game. Like who was on our line? Who was playing? Austin Corbett, right? And we got that win. It makes a huge difference. And I guess just we've got to be patient with this team. They know what they're doing.
I hope, yeah.
You hope, yeah.
I really hope they know what they're doing. We just got to find the identity. I think you're right. We just need to find the formula. I like your points there. I really do. So going off,
can we go on the record and talk about this Mike Evans situation? How ironic is it that Dave Canales worked with him in the past? They were talking about how Mike Evans was going to get this this deal with Tampa Bay, and he's not going to go anywhere. But now he's going to test free agency. Just saying.
And with that, that's why I wanted to transition over to free agency. So I know you were talking about how you're not tweeting until this man gets a contract done with the Carolina Panthers. You kind of banned yourself from it. And I know Sam has his own point of view with Brian.
Who does that?
Let you go first, though.
So can we touch on that real quick? The funniest thing is, and I want to promote you guys. I definitely want to promote you because this is a win-win situation. The funniest thing is, I can't. Dude, who does that? My next tweet. And people think I'm not going to do it. Like, there's some doubters if you look at the comments. But
I'm gonna check it out right now.
I am stubborn. I will wait.
I hope
if that's my next tweet. That's my next tweet. What's going to suck is if they franchise tag him.
I see "Bye Forever" on there.
Oh yeah, I just see that one too.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
I mean, I really hope it happens. I kind of told you while we were trying to get this podcast ready, like, what if it happens while we're recording right now? I mean, unfortunately, we haven't heard anything yet. There's some feeling that, like, we only have 3 days left if we want to give him the franchise tag. So something has to happen.
That's kind of why I did it too, because one, we like to make announcements on Friday. Two, I know they're talking right now at the combine, and then three, Burns has been dropping hints on his Instagram.
Instagram.
He may be looking for attention. But he's dropping hints that they're working together at least, you know. And then he's talking like him and Frankie Louvu are posting stuff back and forth, and dude, the hints are there. We don't hide much. It's funny, like our franchise doesn't hide much.
No, they really don't. We like to keep it public. They let the fans know, and I think that's the other thing is this franchise. I know Tepper hasn't really shown it the last few years, really, because from a business standpoint, and maybe he is trying to change the culture, but at least for the media team in general, they like to keep the fans involved, and they truly honor who we are to the franchise. So we are grateful for it. But I must say one thing: the signing Louvu is probably more realistic than signing Burns, in my opinion. I think we'd probably have to franchise tag Burns and make $23 million. But I think that Louvu deal, if we did something like his market value, could be regular. But Sam, if you wanted to give Blande your take on Brian Burns, I don't know if you've seen the latest podcast, but Sam has his words.
I have not.
I want to pull up that because that would be the 21.7 annual salary. If you can pull up Louvu's real quick.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that Brian Burns is $10 million per year better than Frankie Louvu, and that's nothing against Brian Burns. I just feel like Frankie Louvu was a game changer in a lot of our games this season. He was really just kind of a bright spot there.
Really think about this too. If you watch Brian Burns in the past, like it's there. But he's going into the season where he can't get hurt. He's got to show something. And he's thinking about his future, you know. Like when he turns it on, that dude he's quick, he's strong, he's getting smarter. Like if you watched him in the preseason, he's over here teaching other defensive ends for other teams. I don't know if you saw that with the Jets, but he's kind of teaching them, I guess, what he's learned over the time. But I wouldn't sleep on Brian Burns, and I would definitely they can structure money however they need to keep him. And I think look at our defense. So we've got Frankie Louvu, J.C. Horn, Brian Burns, Derek Brown. We're putting together these pieces where those are all stud players, you know.
Yeah.
Now having them all on the field at the same time has been our issue, but there's been other players too that have been stepping up, like Yetur Gross-Matos.
I like him.
That dude had a sneaky season.
He did,
and I think this might be our potential breakout season coming up. Look at Deshaun Jameson. Deshaun Jameson was nasty. Troy Hill. I don't know. Don't sleep on this defense.
No, that's for sure. I do have to say, I think Gross Matos. Yeah, we actually have to pay Gross Matos. He's up for a contract. And
is he under Brian Burns?
Deshaun Williams, not Jameson. I don't think so. But Troy Hill is also on contract. Dude, he's got to be 33. So that's the only thing that worries me about.
So here's my theory.
Okay.
Ejiro Evero. He could have gone anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dan Morgan took over, and he talked Ejiro Evero to staying. And Ejiro's smart that he could go if he wanted to, but he knows what we have on defense. And he wants to win. And he wants his legacy to show that, you know. And that's why my assumption, and they're talking about best player available, but there are some good defensive players in this draft too, like there are wide receivers. So I'll be very interested to see what we do at 33.
And I know they've been talking about best player available at 33. So before we look into big contracts, who do you think for Guy is at 33?
Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so Sam, for you, so if you want to go ahead and tell everybody your Brian Burns thoughts again, because we're 3 days out if this is ever going to happen. So
3 days out. we were talking the other day about the potential 2 first-round pick compensation for the franchise tag, the non-exclusive or whatever. I don't realistically think it's going to happen. I feel like if you're holding out this long, you kind of have to get a deal done because we're talking about the 2 first-round picks that have been offered at these back-to-back trade deadlines. I'm pretty sure what it was the Rams and the Ravens at least made it pretty decent offers a couple deadlines ago, which we didn't. So I would say that at this point you have to get a deal done. But I mean, it really just comes down to the number because I mean, it's nothing against Burns. This wasn't as productive of a season as they wanted. Obviously, maybe it's because teams are kind of double-teaming him at that line. I mean, he's going to obviously gather a lot of attention, but least amount of sacks he's had since his rookie season. So maybe this could end up benefiting us because it may end up having us pay him less than we would have had to at the end of last season. So, I mean, you look at it, and you could still say that he may have not even hit his prime yet. He's only 25 years old, so you kind of got to get a deal done at this point because if he walks away with nothing, then it's just going to look really bad.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the backlash?
Yeah.
And that the media knows, like the media wants us to be terrible. It's so funny. But imagine the backlash with knowing that we could have got 2 firsts for Brian Burns. And then him walking away for nothing. Like even the fans, there'd be so much backlash.
And I mean, I don't want to act like comfortable about it though, because we could only be a couple days away from that happening. So it's like, I mean, haven't really been a lot of franchise tags made though, so I guess that could be said that maybe teams are waiting until later. But
yeah, it's kind of strange, huh?
It's very much, and that's why I kind of put on some free agent targets just in case because at the same thing.
Say the name again.
I'm putting like other free agent targets up here just. My thought process is if this non-exclusive tag can work, and obviously it has not worked in 24 years, so I doubt it does. But it gives us a chance to be like, hey, will another team actually offer Brian Burns a contract in this way, knowing that they'd have to give us 2 first-round picks if we don't match it? And that's kind of my thought process looking at it right now. Is I think the best move is to put the non-exclusive tag, see if another team wants to give an offer to Burns, and then we can look at it like, hey, would we rather get 2 first-round picks, or if someone's paying Brian Burns absolutely nothing, and in what sense that he was asking us for, just match the offer and roll with it. And I think that's the best way to look at it for Brian Burns. I think Frankie Louvu, Dan Morgan talked about at the Combine, is that they are in the works of getting a deal done with Louvu. So I hope that he will be a Panther next season. I think another guy that's very interesting to look at, and I think everyone has mixed feelings about him, but it's DJ Chark, because I know he had his ups and downs. He had an amazing game against Green Bay, and then the last game of the season, he scored a touchdown, and then that hole where he fumbled at the goal line was terrible. But so he's definitely had his ups and downs. I'd like to see that cat dance he does a lot at the end of each score. So I'm curious. Are you guys a DJ Chark fan? If we can bring him in as a wide receiver 2 or 3.
Are we going to talk about Derek Brown after this?
Yeah.
Is he on the list? Okay, sweet. DJ. Oh man, I don't know. He's got a lot of potential, and he's fun to watch. I don't know. Like he's like, think about his sideline catches he's had this year, and like vital moments.
Yeah.
I'm keeping him. Keep him on this team.
And that's the other thing. Like, look at the contract we have to give him. That is, first of all, I know that's his market value. We signed DJ Chark for a 1-year, $5 million deal last season. I mean, I don't mind giving him that exact same contract or even less, because technically he kind of obviously underperformed from what we thought he would be. And the other thing is he people don't look at it this way. Chark was injured for most of this season and in his tenure with Detroit, but he still finished with more receiving yards with Carolina than he did in Detroit. So, I mean, he technically had a better season. So I'm thinking like it's not that much of a issue. I wouldn't mind it.
Well, okay. Think about our wide receiver corps. We've got Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, DJ Chark, and then our future, we'll say wide receiver 1, right? They're going to complement each other. DJ can take it over the top. I keep thinking about his sideline catch, man. He's got potential. He's going to learn from jumping in the end zone. He doesn't have Matt Rule to tell him no jumping in the end zone with the ball extended. Otherwise, you're going to be running laps. So just, I'm keeping him.
Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I thought of was Matt Rule was that clip you sent me the other day of the Nebraska basketball game.
Oh my God.
You're trying to dunk over him. But what I'm thinking realistically is if we look at this wide receiver depth chart and we imagine no DJ Chark next season, I mean, I'm pretty sure Laviska Shenault also has an expiring contract, same with Amir Smith-Marset. That means that technically if we made no big moves, that Terrace Marshall would maybe even be starting at wide receiver. So I don't really think that that's a reality that we can really go with next season. I think that his market value is honestly probably the same, maybe a little lower than last season because, I mean, if you look at the stats, it's basically the exact same as Detroit. He had a couple more touchdowns, but 20 more yards.
I think you keep Amir.
I want to keep Amir for
keep him.
I think.
That too, like he was dynamic. I'm gonna start rewatching our season 2. But that dude turned it on. You mentioned Shenault. I think Laviska can be dangerous too. I forget his injury. What was his injury?
In the Miami game, yeah.
What was his injury?
I think it was something to do with leg. I think it was ankle or something because I did it was the Miami game, and I think we ran a fake punt.
It was ankle. It was
ankle. Yeah, we ran a fake punt in the Miami game. He got tackled awkwardly on it, and
yeah, as long as it's not like a tear, I think he was starting to show a lot of potential, and people were asking for him to continually get the ball. Dude, we have weapons. We just need if we just focus on this O-line and a wide receiver, I think we'll be good.
I mean, I think also a position that I feel like the two positions, I feel like people talk a lot about our wide receiver, our offensive line position. I feel like tight end is a position that really doesn't really get addressed that much, at least on
tight end.
From what I've seen. I mean, you could say that Hayden Hurst we think could work. I mean, based on all that stuff that happened with him at the end of last season, I mean, finishing the season with below 200 yards, I feel like that's a discussion to be had, whether it's maybe drafting a tight end on day 3 of the draft, trying to put him in that tight end room. I mean, I think Tremble showed a lot of potential last season as well. But I think that's a position that the Panthers are going to need to really upgrade to be more successful. And then I think going into last season, the reason why some people thought that the Panthers were going to be a sleeper for that NFC South was because of Miles Sanders. And it's nothing against Sanders, but I mean, the expectations compared to the performance was just really disappointing. I mean, 800 less yards, 1.6 less per carry. You know, he had 1 touchdown compared to 11 in Philadelphia. Or that's because of the system, of course. But I mean, I would have at least liked to see him creep over like 800 instead of having Chuba replace him and really having Hubbard solidify himself as the running back 1. It's nothing against Chuba, but I mean, I think that the reason that we were so good at the end of the 2022 season was because we had that 1-2 punch with Foreman and Hubbard. I mean, that single-handedly won us games like against the Lions and against the Saints. So I think that the run game really has to get up. Maybe Canal has changed the system, but going into last season, it was a system that needed a good running back, and it didn't really happen.
Yeah. Yeah, losing Dante Foreman, sorry. That was a big loss, and it kind of just changed our identity big time because I don't know how well. I mean, Chuba and Miles Sanders are. I guess Chuba's now going to be that kind of like the Thunder, where Miles Sanders will be like the Lightning, you know. Yeah, our identity changed big time losing Dante.
It hurt. It sincerely hurt losing Dante because, I mean, once again, his value was like another 1-year, $5 million deal. And that's another one of those situations where I'm like, man.
That fitter. Oh, my God. What did he do to this team?
And I mean, if you look at I don't want to talk about Miles Sanders like it's in the past because I mean, what do we still have like 3-4 more years left on that contract? I mean, it's like he still has so many more days.
I don't even want to drop. Apologize for dropping DJ Moore's name, but we had Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore,
Chosen Anderson,
lost Dante Foreman.
We had some dogs.
The Fields. Okay, so I apologize for saying this. I apologize. So I think I know you saw some growth with Tommy Trimble this year, and I think he's going to be the dude. But there's one player. There's one player that I don't follow football enough to kind of like I'm coaching, but I've got good eyes. I've got an eye test, and there's one player, guys. There's one player that surprised me this year, Ian Thomas, and I know he's heard had a lot of I guess backlash, but dude, Ian Thomas, he looks sneaky to me. I don't know. He couldn't stay on the field, but
I think he's a great run blocker. Him and Tommy are great run blockers. We just need a dual threat tight end. That's kind of our issue right now. We don't have someone.
I'm saying Ian Thomas. Saying Ian Thomas. Like,
oh, okay.
He looked fast out there. I don't know. Something looked different. I'll see if I can find some plays.
I think Stephon Sullivan's kind of underrated.
I was just thinking him too. I was kind of wondering whether he identifies as a wide receiver.
He's suffering from the dropsies, isn't he?
I think so.
Him and Strawn were suffering from dropsies later in the season. Dude, the Strawn breakout game was so funny. The Chicago Bears game.
Yeah. He made that 45-yard. Like I was like, oh my goodness, because
that was like our longest pass of the entire season.
Correct. I think in airtime.
It's either that one or maybe the Hayden Hurst one against the Colts or whatever, with the interception the next play, maybe.
But that was more after a catch. I think through the air, that was Young's most like long throw.
Yeah.
But it's funny because his timing's off. Like he's not hitting these long throws, but I think something's gonna click, and he's gonna have more time in the pocket. He's learning these defenses. Dude, I would not sleep on Bryce Young at all. Like, this dude has been doing it his entire life. This is his life. It's not that I am the biggest Bryce Young stan. It's just that I know that he's put in the work and he's smart. He's going to put in the effort. Dude, don't sleep on Bryce Young.
And I think Canales, if there's anyone that can unlock Bryce Young as an NFL like player,
yes.
I think Canales might be our best option.
And if Canales doesn't work out, then I don't really know what the next step is.
That's the thing. If Canales
doesn't work out,
I don't know what
that far ahead.
I mean, we gave Canales a 6-year contract, so I really hope.
Does that mean that we're paying 3 head coaches this season?
He gave Matt Rule how long? He gave.
I think we're still paying Reich, Rule, and Canales all this season.
Yeah, we're paying.
That's all out of Tepper's paycheck, right? There's nothing.
Yeah, that's Tepper. That's coming out of his.
Tepper wants to win, man.
Yeah. That's coming out of Tepper's piggy bank, so it won't affect our team as much. But it's just funny how we're paying 3 head coaches right now. But that's beyond the point. I think what we need to look at. So I've added some possible free agents. Possible free agents. We'll run through this really quickly because we kind of want to keep this under an hour. But possible free agent candidates. I put in 2 receivers. So we've talked about Mike Evans before. We've talked about his relationship with Coach Canales. The only thing that scares me, or there's 2 things that scares me about Mike Evans. Number 1, his age, and for his age, the contract that his market value is listed at. That's what scares me right now.
Yeah.
I think that's just gonna.
I disagree. I agree. Well, he has an injury history too.
Correct. Yeah.
But I don't know. I can picture him in this offense, and like we just need one stud wide receiver, that playmaker that Dan Morgan is talking about.
T. Higgins was the guy, and I think Sam and I agreed on that for months. T. Higgins.
It was, but I mean, I think that there's still a lot of names out. I mean, I think this draft class is the best receiver class I can remember in a very long time. I think that I'm looking mainly to Johnny Mitchell and Keon Coleman. If Troy Franklin somehow falls to 33, I think that would be a great pickup. But I think those two guys, maybe even if Xavier gets available in round 3 out of South Carolina, that'd be good. But a free agent wide receiver, we actually have not talked about.
You're sleeping on Ladd. You're sleeping on Ladd.
I'm not a Ladd guy. It's nothing against Ladd. I think Mitchell. I think Mitchell and Coleman would be better options.
I don't think he.
Okay. Get this. Ready? Okay. Adam Thielen. Was he? He wasn't drafted, right? I don't think he was drafted.
No, I think he went.
So he worked his way up to get to where he is, right? But then it's very similar with Ladd McConkey. They're very similar styles. Ladd McConkey could go in the second. He could go in the first. Think about Ladd McConkey. Okay, think about Adam Thielen. People talking about Adam Thielen going in the second and first, right? Like, put yourself back there when Thielen was being drafted. McConkey has that right now, and where he can show more potential, and then being under Adam Thielen and learning and growing like that, dude. I don't know. Him working with Bryce and just like reading defenses, just he needs this kind of cognizant. Sorry, there's background noise. Kind of a cognizant like twin on the field where they're just working together. Think about like Cam Newton and Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
You know.
No, and I know what you mean.
Sleep on Ladd.
We might sleep on Ladd too much, but my thought process is like we gotta go. I don't want I don't want to draft someone at 3. We're looking for best talent at 33. Personally, if we draft a Keon Coleman or a Troy Franklin, I want to bring in somebody that's ready right now. I don't want to bring in somebody that's going to take a year or two to develop or extra this and that. I'm not saying it's a waste of a draft pick because McConkey could still turn out to be a good player, but I want to draft somebody that's ready right now to get on the field and to perform. That's what I think the Panthers are looking for.
And I think a free agent that we haven't really talked about is Tyler Boyd. I saw he was listed at least in an NFL article as a potential fit for the Panthers. That's obviously.
What's the name? I missed it. Say the name again.
Tyler Boyd from the Bengals. He's been running wide receiver 3 over there the past couple seasons. But, I mean, I think that his stats are maybe a little lower because he's playing with Chase and Higgins. I feel like he could be a guy who could go for a lot more. I mean, I think that would not be good if that was our best signing, obviously. But I think that realistically, you need to bring in a name from free agency, and you need to bring in a guy with a lot of upside at 33, just so that you can have a lot of options at that wide receiver. Because right now it's just pretty limited. I mean, if we're looking at next season, if Sharp doesn't sign, then it's pretty limited.
I think this is our moment. We may have to hang up soon.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Sit in the blender in the background. That means something, you know.
No, I get you, man. Yeah.
I greatly appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to be on this. Like I said, very inspirational. Maybe we'll work together one day. I like doing collaborations with other accounts. So even if it's like art or anything like that, working with other accounts. I don't know if you guys know that I draw, or I'm trying to get back into drawing.
Oh, that's awesome.
So digital art is new to me. So I'm trying to get back into it, into drawing at least. Give me charcoal, give me paper and charcoal, and it's done. But and a lot of I guess what I'm saying is I like working with you guys. Maybe there's potential in the future. So I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man, for joining us. You're like really our first like guest from Panthers community.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Keep pounding culture. Let's go, guys.
And we're going to do this all year long until we get back into the NFL scene. So thank you so much for joining us all. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go check out Blande's Twitter and YouTube right here. It's at Just Blande on both of his socials. And that's going to wrap it up. I'm Chris Ferb alongside Sam and Blande. Thank you all for tuning in. For the rest of our crew, we say so long from the Carolina Cast.